up guys, Super Chris Productions here, and as you probably already saw by the video title, I'm going to be doing my top 5 figures of the year 2020. Now, I'm doing top 5 figures this year because, as you probably already saw in the montage that I put in the beginning of the video, I didn't do as many customs this year as I did last year, and the year before that. I think in 2018 I had like over 70 figures, and 2019 was like over 60. This year the number was a bit smaller. It's about 25-ish figures because it was a little slow for customizing for me. A lot of things going on, stuff I won't really get into. I do want to make this video as short as possible. So at the end of the video I'll talk about my plans for next year and other stuff that I'm working on. But for now, without further ado, we can go ahead and get started with the first figure. Alright, so starting off in the number 5 spot, we have a figure I actually finished prior to recording this video. It's a very late figure. Kate Bishop from the new Hawkeye show. I did use some of my friends and other people's input for these top 5, and then from there I went off of that and picked the figures that I liked best from their lists, and also which figures I liked best from what I had. And because these are not showcases, I will just be going over why I chose the figure and why it made the top 5 spot. For this one in particular, it's at number 5 because of all the details that went into it. I did a lot of actual painted details, as you can see, for the side of the shirt, the arms, even the quiver. I painted up all the arrows. It's got a hair piece that's almost entirely sculpted by me except for the base. A painted bow, little sculpted details down there, painted boot designs, because normally I do just a basic boot. And then sculpted belt, a sculpted strap for the quiver. And that's about it for this one, and now we can move on to number 4. Alright, at number 4 we have another figure that I went all out with sculpted details, also another archer. This time we have Katniss Everdeen from the Hunger Games. I never actually showcased, this is another figure that I never actually showcased, and you're probably going to realize most of the figures on this list haven't been showcased besides just one of them. But this figure I also went all out with sculpting details. I did sculpting for the boots. The torso is almost entirely fully sculpted on the front, and on the back it's got a magnetic quiver. The bow was just a bow I painted in black. It's just a basic bow, not too much detail there. Sculpted shoulders, even fabric detail on top of the torso, and then a sculpted hairpiece with a braid and the bangs at the front. I'll give you guys one last 360 of the figure. Even little painted detail on the hand, and that's it for Katniss. And now we can move on to number 3. In the number 3 spot we have Wonder Woman. I actually made this figure for Batman vs. Superman. I didn't showcase it. I did showcase the Batman and the Superman that I did. I decided to hold off on this one because I wanted to make a showcase and post it for when the new Wonder Woman 1984 movie came out, but I never got around to doing that, and I actually still have not seen the movie, so probably once I do that I'll make a showcase or make any other figures I want to make. This figure was chosen also because of the sculpted work that went into it, the sculpted torso. I finally made a sculpted tiara, as the last Wonder Woman figure that I didn't have a sculpted tiara. It was painted on. Same with the armband. I also sculpted on the armband to this figure. And I did a lot of paint work for the arms in general. As you can see, her gauntlets that she wears, they wrap around the inside of the arms with little straps there. And the sculpt work does continue actually all the way around to the back. And I did sculpt onto the belt. Skirt was made of fabric. It's actually from the old Wonder Woman figure. It's the only thing that I carried over. And then the boots are painted with all of their details because I wanted those as accurate as possible. So I'll just put her weapons back in, and then we can move on to number 2. Alright, so here we have the second to last figure, and this figure was also not showcased. It's part of my Clone Wars Season 3 showcase, which will be coming very soon. I just have a few other figures from that showcase that I need to finish up, so that's why this hasn't been posted yet, but this makes the number 2 spot because all the details on it, at least I think, I added so much sculpt work, paint work, that it made this look really close to Captain Rex. I mean, it looks like a miniature Captain Rex action figure. All the sculpted details for the shoulders, the torso, the belt, even the knee pads behind the waistcape thing that he has. His helmet, I painted it up on all of the detail that the actual helmet has. Even a little sculpted comm, sculpted work on the back. Even the boots, all painted up, and you can see the tally marks. The head, basic, but I mean, you more so look at the armor than you do the head of the figure. And so that's it for Rex and the number 2 spot. And now we'll move on to some honorable mentions before we get to the final figure. Alright, so here is the first figure in 3 of the honorable mention figures. Batman Arkham Knight, the first suit you get when you start the game. Second honorable mention we have is Black Canary, Dinah Drake from Arrow Season 7. And last but not least, Classic Suit Spider-Man from Spider-Man PlayStation 4. And with those out of the way, we can now move on to the final figure in the list of my top 5 figures for 2020. Alright guys, and the moment you've all been waiting for, the last figure, or should I say the number 1 figure on my list of my top 5 minifigures of 2020 is the Mandalorian. And I'll just throw Grogu up there because I consider him an accessory for Mando. I'm sure some of you guys probably already saw this coming. I chose the Mandalorian as my number 1 figure for 2020 because it is the most detailed figure out of all the figures I made this year. I packed in a ton of sculpt work, a ton of tiny details, a bunch of painted details, and Grogu fell off. I'll just leave him off to the side. The painted weapons. He has the most accessories out of any figure that I made this year. All the sculpt work, and I do go into a lot of detail of the figure in my Mandalorian showcase that was released a few days prior to this video. So if you guys want to see more of this figure, I would suggest you guys go check out that video. You get an up-close look of Grogu, an up-close look of the Mandalorian, his weapons, all his armor. And with that said, we can go ahead and wrap up this video. Alright guys, so that about does it for my top 5 custom minifigures of 2020. I am honestly not sure what customs I will be working on next year. I have been doing a lot of decal figures for Andrew over at AV Figures. Projects that I am considering. I never got to do minifigures from the movie Captain America Civil War, so I was thinking of doing figures from that movie. I have my Clone Wars Season 7 figures that I am working on. I have a part that a friend is sending me that will help me move ever so closer to finishing those figures to line up with about 6-7 figures, something like that. And then I have a bunch of figures that I've been making from Spider-Man PlayStation 4 and the Miles Morales game. I am going to combine those into one video. Definitely January, I will have more videos coming out, more showcases, figures that I didn't get to showcase this year. I don't want my channel to be as inactive next year as it was this year. So be on the lookout for a bunch more videos coming out. I'm going to try and go back to weekly videos. I'm not making any promises on that, but like I said, I'll try and make sure I can get back into uploading weekly. But that's it for this video. I really hope you guys liked it. If you did, be sure to leave a like down below. Don't forget to comment, share, and subscribe. And Happy New Year!